Okay, we are back a couple days later. I got yet another load in the dump trailer. This is all locust. This is all green locust. Took down the trees like today, yesterday. Really nice stuff. Very few crotches, really straight, nice diameter stuff. You can see we got a good variety. There's a couple, bigger pieces down on the bottom for sure. That rot does not travel up all the way the log. So this should be some good stuff. Today, while I was at work, I had another company come in with like a big log truck, like a debris truck. And this is actually the tree company that works for the local utility power company. And they brought me a load. And as you can see, there's kind of a hodgepodge. There's a oak log here. There's some ash logs up here, all varying lengths. You can see some of these, logs are good 25, 30 foot long. And he came in, you could see where he put down, it was a rear load truck. You could see where he put down his outrigger pads right here and then loaded everything. Luckily, the driver was nice enough to put the shorts off to the side and the full log length pieces, on the pile. Looks like he also put some of the longer pieces, kind of up on top. A couple of pieces fell. And it's good because a lot of that is ash. And I desperately need more ash because I am down to, I think, just 2 totes. If you could see those very 2 totes all the way down there. Those are my last 2 ash totes for bundles and the firewood stand. So the back side of this pile fell. It looks like it collapsed a little bit. Maybe he didn't realize. We're not going to have time to deal with that today. Honestly, all these short pieces are going to be a real pain in the butt to deal with, just because there's so much handling involved in, cutting 3 or 4 rounds out of them. But they're here. It's good wood. It looks like a lot of it is oak. There is some ash in there. So right now, because I have this load in the trailer, and I actually have another load from my normal guy that brings me wood, Jim's Tree Service. He has a load of cherry for me today. So I really don't want this ash to get buried because I need to split it and get it ready, so it can sit about a month or so, and then, I'll be able to restock the firewood stand, because I've been going through like 2 to 3 totes in the firewood stand a week. Luckily, the weather's starting to warm up, but I think it's only like for this week. It's going to cool back down. But we're almost to March, so the light's at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully, I'm not hoping, but firewood stands typically start slowing down once the weather warms up around here. There's not much camping or anything. People are burning for heat and ambiance in their fireplaces during the winter months. Those are the people I sell to. So I'm going to grab the excavator, and we are going to pull some of these ash logs off of this pile so that they don't get buried with the other loads of wood that are coming in. And we're just going to put them off to the side and get them out of the way, because I don't have much time. I got to go in and deal with the baby in about an hour and a half and make dinner while Sarah gets a reprieve and goes to the gym. So here we go. All right, so we got the majority of the bigger ash logs pulled out of the big pile and moved over to be staged. That's kind of where we stage logs that we're going to be cutting and processing next. There is a lot of good wood in here. Really nice straight oak logs, and even this smaller stuff is nice wood as well. you know, it's just smaller, shorter pieces, which means that you gotta, you know, stop and pick up more of the pieces more often. But it's not the end of the world. I probably won't be asking for another load from this, you know, utility contractor anytime soon, just because I would prefer dealing with, it's more productive to deal with full log lengths. Now, some of you guys might be wondering, well, Jake, what is that thing on the end of the excavator? Well, I'm going to tell you right now. This is my new PR Attachments root ripper. And if you guys think that this looks like something you'd see out of Mad Max, well, I had the exact same thought. This thing is badass. I have seen root rippers before online for excavators. I have seen ones with serrated teeth. I have not seen any with serrated teeth to this extent. I mean, this thing, like, I'm putting my hand here. These teeth are big, beefy, sharp teeth. These are still pretty big, beefy. You can see it's just digging into the bark of the logs, like really, really gripping it. And in conjunction with the thumb, this thing is pretty freaking sweet. I've been looking for something like this for a while, and I wasn't sure if I wanted a full-on single-tooth root ripper such as this, or more of a, you know, rake style that was maybe like 20 inches wide. And I got to thinking about it, and I ended up going with this because this thing can do other things that a rake couldn't do. And the things that I could do with a rake, I could, you know, more or less do with my tooth bucket, like raking out, you know, debris and stuff. Like, yes, you're going to carry material and dirt and stuff with you because it's solid, but all of the videos that I've seen of people using rakes to rake, they carry a lot of material with them too. And I think it would be pretty valuable to have something like this for frozen ground, for digging out stumps and stuff, where it just really pinpoints all of the power of this little U35 Kubota mini excavator on that single replaceable tooth there. So this is the first time I'm using it. I threw it on the machine last night. I picked it up yesterday, and so far so good. It's pretty badass. The guy who makes this is actually the same guy that I bought this excavator from. And he actually reached out to me on Facebook Messenger a couple weeks ago. He was like, hey, Jake, how's the machine treating you? Have you had any issues? You know, whatever. Really nice guy. We got to talking, and he told me that he left the attachment company he was working at and started his own company. And I said, well, that's awesome. These things look badass. I would love to support a new local made in America company. And we talked a little back and forth, and I ended up buying this thing, you know, basically sight unseen. I called him up. I said, you got one ready? I need it. He said, I do. Give me 2 hours. I'll weld on the ears for your machine. And I went and picked it up. But feel free to reach out to Anthony because he is just getting this company up and going, but they're doing things right. And he is going to be shipping all over the, at least continental United States that I know of for now. And he's pumping out buckets, rakes, root rippers, all different types of stuff. You name it, he'll make it for you. PR Attachments. Got this load of locusts, this new PR ripper tooth. Let's see how this does. I mean, you guys just saw me using it really for the first time. Now, you will notice that my thumb doesn't meet up fully you know, with the bottom of the ripper shank. The ripper shank, I believe, is 30 inches long. So he said that it was kind of going to meet up like where the end of the replaceable tooth is. And it's actually a little bit above that. But that's not the end of the world, because you'll see where the serrations start is kind of where the thumb meets up with it. So that's kind of where you would want to be grabbing, you know, your logs anyway. So, I mean, it is nice because it has such less depth to it compared to, you know, even the 12-inch trenching bucket that I previously was using to stack logs. It's just so thin that you can just kind of pick and choose exactly what log you want to get, and you can get in between logs pretty easily, kind of like, you know, using a toothpick almost. So we're gonna see how it does here. I want to grab, like, yeah, so you could just go down, kind of wedge it in between some pieces, curl it, and I mean, we got a pretty good grab on that thing. Now, I was worried that being as narrow as it is, that we might not get good grips on logs, but I think between the teeth that I added to my thumb and the serrations on this ripper tooth itself, we seem to be getting pretty good grip on the pieces, as long as you're, you know, somewhat centered on the piece. So like now, this thing is so long, I want to see, can I push this log? Yeah, I can push this log back even further onto the pile and make room for another one right there. So now we'll come in and take this. Now, I mean, the way that I'm using this also right now, guys, just, you know, to be totally transparent, is not its intended use. This thing is 100% a root ripper, and it's designed to rip out stumps and roots and frost and, you know, rocks and stuff. But just like, you know, you can use a bucket to dig a stump and do all that other stuff, you can use this thing, you know, for multiple uses as well. So I just really wanted to try it out. I do have stumps around the property. We are 100% going to be trying it out on, but for right now, this is what I have to get done today, so this is what we're going to be using. And so far, you know, so good. The only thing I am noticing, like right now, it's curled all the way out. See, I can curl it in, but it's curled all the way out, and, you know, the tooth is kind of vertical. The shank is vertical, so you really have to be like all the way full stick out for it to get any, you know, backwards angle, I guess you could call it. But like here, you can kind of cradle the piece and hold on to it. And there we go. You know, I use the thumb to push it back. So we're getting, I think, you know, it's kind of like anything. It's going to take, definitely going to take some getting used to. Now, you might be asking, Jake, that thing looks a little overkill. Like, what's with all of the teeth and stuff? And what Anthony, the owner, explained to me is that those teeth on the back that are facing the camera right now are for ripping into stumps, and you go up into it and you kind of curl your bucket, you know, as you would be digging, and it kind of helps chop into the next roots that you will be cutting. And while the teeth on the front, you know, facing me, facing the machine, are severing and cutting the roots that you already previously severed. So it kind of works. Both sides of the tooth are functioning at the same time, which is interesting and not something that I really would have thought about had you, asked me initially. This log might be a little heavy. No, we got it. It's just over the side. Gotta be easy with it, but we got it. And I mean, we got a good grip on that log. That's like, that ain't going anywhere. Except for right into my blade, but we'll fix that. And there we go. So I am really eager to try this on a stump, and I mean, both, yes, I want to try the ripper, but I'm also really curious to see how capable the U35 is as a whole, dealing with stumps, because I haven't really dug out anything of considerable size as of yet, to this date. And I think this ripper is going to give me every advantage that I could possibly, ask for when it comes to digging out stumps. And, I'll be able to, with this thing, I'll be able to dig out the biggest stump that this machine possibly is capable of doing, I think. Whereas, with a bucket, I might not have been able to do that. But I mean, you can see that this is a big green live locust log, and I mean, we're doing it. It's, it's up there. I just put it up on the second level, and you could see all of the material that is caught in those serrations on the teeth. Let me, like, guys, these teeth are not for show. These teeth mean serious business. Like, look at how well it gripped into that big diameter locust log. And I mean, this, I gotta zoom out. Like, this is a big this is a big log. It's a big log that I never would have been able to pick up with just my standard 12-inch grading bucket or trenching bucket. Same with this one. I mean, like, look at where this thing dug in and just tore all the way through this locust bark, which locust bark, mind you, is pretty thick. Like, look at how thick that bark is. That's not white pine bark or anything. Like, this thing is going in deep, and I love it. It's making it super easy to move these logs. So I think this thing has the potential to, I'm sure it is awesome at ripping out stumps, but it also does pretty well at picking up logs. Okay, so I don't know if you could see it reflected in that little time lapse there, but that root ripper, with how precise you're able to, get the point of that thing down in between the cracks, in between different logs and stuff, it made organizing all these little short pieces a lot easier. Now, by no means is this a perfect log pile. Some of them, I think it's going to do more harm than good if I were to like pull them out. But for the most part, now I can easily drive around. I have a lot more room. They were kind of sticking out. You can kind of see where all the bark and stuff was. But that root ripper did a good job at stacking up these little short pieces. Ideally, I wouldn't have the short pieces, but beggars can't be choosers. So I am pretty happy with this thing. And we will definitely continue to be using it here in the near future. All right, guys, we are out here a couple days later, and the last time I was out here splitting with Chris noticed a leak had developed, and it was kind of spraying out actually of this hydraulic cooler on the Eastonmade here. And I don't know if you could see that, if the camera will, you know, focus or zoom in, but there's a crack here on the weld. So as per usual, I called up Henry over at Eastonmade. He is the head of all the service and parts over at Eastonmade, and he had a new hydraulic cooler shipped out to me within the day. Tracking number was sent the next morning. It was here from Canada in like, I don't know, 2 days. So if that doesn't tell you what kind of service and customer service Eastonmade has, I don't know what else will. I didn't pay a dime, and the cooler is sitting right here. We got Alex back in the woodyard, and we're gonna get this puppy on. It's it looks like it's really only 3 fittings and then a plug and then like 2 or maybe, yeah, 4 bolts. So it shouldn't be too bad. Also, another shout out to Vivor for this mechanics tool set. This video is not sponsored by them, but we did use this set and it had everything we needed. Really nice to have it out here in the woodyard. I'll put a link in the description. All right, and I don't think that took us about 15 minutes, and we got the new cooler on. It was pretty simple. It's really just the temperature sensor, the in and the out, and 1 electrical plug, and then 4 bolts, 2 on the top, and I don't know if you could see them, but 2 on the bottom down there. So Alex, go ahead, fire it up. Let's see how it does, if we got any leaks. It's obviously not running because the machine's not warm, the oil's not hot, so I don't think there's actively pressure in it, but before it was just kind of seeping out even when the machine was idling. So I don't see any leaks or wet spots. So Alex is checking the old finger test.
I say it's thumbs up.
All right, there we go. We are back in action. Thanks, Eastonmade. All right, well, Alex is starting to split. I'm gonna come over here, hop in the excavator. After I went in last night, I got another load of cherry delivered to the woodyard. Looks like pretty nice stuff, some larger diameter, some smaller diameter. Pretty straight for cherry around here. So we're gonna hop up in the excavator, get it all stacked up. All right, well, I just hopped in the excavator. We got a mouse poison update. This block has moved. I put it all the way up in that corner last night, and this block has moved. I put it in the opposing corner, and you could just see all the stuff, you know, the debris that's been eaten off of it. So I'm gonna push it back up in that corner. Hopefully, those mice have kicked the bucket, so to speak. You know, I'm just sitting here watching Alex, you know, cut these logs, and I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed with you know, he hasn't worked here in probably a couple weeks just because of the weather and everything. And Sarah and I have been getting accustomed to a schedule with the baby. But I gotta say, he's picked up the whole process pretty well. He seems to retain the information as well, which is important. You know, he got out here actually before I even came out of the house because I was grabbing some stuff together, and he wasn't just sitting there on his phone. He said he filled up the tank to the Eastonmade. He didn't start it because he knew that it had a leak. He had pulled out the scrap and raked out from underneath the machine. And he was like, you know, I just wanted to keep moving. I wasn't sure, you know, what you wanted me to do. He said, I would have started the mini skid steer and the excavator to warm it up, but I didn't have the key. And I said, well, that's all right, you know, I have the keys. And now just cutting, you know, he immediately put on the chaps. He has his eye protection. He has his ear protection. He has his gloves. He's remembering to go from one side of the log to the other side to keep it balanced so that it doesn't fall out of the grip of the, you know, thumb. He waits for me to give him the thumbs up and the okay to start cutting. It's like all these little things. I feel like I would, if I was teaching somebody, you know, new, which he is, I feel like I would probably have to say that stuff like 3 and 4 times to get that person to remember. But he's surprising me, and he's remembering it all on his own, which is fantastic. So I don't know if he just has a really good memory, or I'm a really good teacher, or a little bit of both. Probably. I don't know.
All right.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap this video up. I feel like I've been filming this video in bits and pieces for like the past 2 weeks, mostly because I have. But today we finished up. You know, we got the Eastonmade fixed, which is good. Alex helped me with that, and we got a little bit of wood split, and we got a bunch of wood cut. We were using the new root ripper here. So what'd you think about being back? It's been a couple weeks since you've been out here.
Been a few weeks since I've been here, but it felt like I haven't been, or what you call it? It felt like I was here yesterday, honestly. That's what I meant to say.
Well, that's what I noticed too. I was sitting there and I even said to the camera, I was surprised at how you remembered, like you came, you were out here before me, you fueled it up, you started raking, you know, underneath the machine to clean everything out, which is great. Like, he's doing stuff, I don't have to tell him to do it. He knows what to do. When I told him that we were going to get ready to cut, you had the chaps on, you had your eye protection, you had your ears, you had your gloves. You were remembering to go from one side to the other of the log so that it doesn't, you know, become too much off balance. So you're doing great. And, you know, I think the viewers will definitely chime in the comments and let you know. But I think you're doing a great job, which is really all that matters.
Maybe I could get a t-shirt next video.
Maybe you can get I got to place an order for t-shirts. I'll be sure to get you one. What are you, an extra small?
Yeah, definitely.
So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up. I got to go in for dad duty. But as always, hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, click that subscribe button down below. Questions, comments, feedback, put it in the comments section. But for now, I'm Jake.
I'm Alex.
This is Dude Ranch DIY. Thanks so much for watching. See you here next time.